This episode is sponsored by TornSports.com, and I've got a lovely pair of sliders here. Every footballer's dream. What else do they do, Lewis?
They do grip socks, all heights. So,
Nice.
they've got the ankle ones. And they actually do, I don't know, the footballers' trend these days is where they have the little cut in the back of their match day socks.
Yeah.
So they do them as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they do plenty of different socks and obviously sliders. So.
That's sick. Yeah, these sliders are very nice. If you want to grab yourself anything, head over to TornSports.com and get yourself something nice.
Welcome back to Ball Talk with me, Lewis Bryon, and today I'm joined as always by St Albans striker Ken Charles. We'll talk FA Cup, okay, and specifically Arsenal's 1-1 draw to Man United. Obviously, Arsenal went out on penalties. It seemed a similar theme with Arsenal to their recent performances where, it's a lot of possession, a lot of chances, couldn't get the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And, United come to defend, caught us on the counter and basically punished our one mistake.
Yeah.
That's what's frustrating. Like, that was frustrating years gone by with Arsenal where you'd have all this possession like we used to all the time, possession, loads of chances, and then we'd get done on the counter. Like, I don't want to see Arsenal slip back into that sort of style of play where that's every single game, every single week. But do you think like teams are looking at that and thinking, right, that's the blueprint to beat Arsenal now?
It probably has been for a while, isn't it? Like, a lot of teams come now and sort of give us the respect knowing that we'll control the ball and stuff and try and hit us on the counter. But we're usually very good at stopping that. But then at the same time, you have to be good at putting the game to bed.
That's it.
The longer the game...
Because we created the chances.
Yeah, and we have been for the past few seasons. And in the last couple of games, it looks like we're not really doing that. Because, if a team comes to set up to restrict you and counter, if within 20, 30 minutes you've scored, that their game plan's out the window.
Yeah.
Whereas if you haven't and it gets to half-time, 60th minute, 70th minute, they grow in confidence knowing that this game's nearly done. We just need one chance that we nick it. And, that is what happened the other day. And obviously we managed to get the equaliser, which gave us the extra time and pens, but then we didn't take advantage of all that possession.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we did create so many chances, and then it makes it so easy to look at the chances we missed, i.e. Havertz. There's a lot of talk about Havertz right now, whether he's the man for Arsenal if we want to win a trophy, whether he's a striker at all, his performances are subpar, are they good?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on his performance in that match? Like, you're a striker. You've been in them situations more than me. Because I was never in them.
Yeah.
But is that harder than it looks to finish them chances? Like, does he deserve this criticism?
It's harsh because obviously there's the part of me that's a striker and wants to say it's not as easy as everyone on the couch thinks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you're a £65 million Premier League striker for Arsenal. There is a standard that people expect, and rightly so. We're trying to compete with Liverpool, who've got Mo Salah that always scores. You've got City that have got Haaland, again, same thing. And if you're not up to their levels as Arsenal's number 9, you're going to get scrutiny. He should have at least had one the other day. There's no doubt about that.
He'll say Man United match.
In that game, he'll
100%.
say he'll admit it himself. It's not harsh to say he should have scored the other day.
That's the thing. It's not harsh to say that. Like, fans can all have opinions, and we can judge a player off a performance, and that performance was not good enough.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he should have scored at least one.
Yeah.
Could have even had a couple.
Yeah.
But then to say stuff like stop chanting Havertz's song, and then he's not a striker, get rid of him, he's no use to us.
Yeah.
For me, that's like, it's just so reactionary.
Yeah. I think Arteta said something in the press yesterday that I saw, and it was pretty much bang on. It was about how December 27th or something, I can't remember who we played, but we won 1-0 at the Emirates. Havertz scored, and everyone was chanting the Havertz song. That's 2-3 weeks later, he's had a poor performance.
Yeah.
We've gone out of the FA Cup. And
it's off the back of losing 2 games before, or not
people
winning.
Are sending abuse to him. People are saying all sorts. Like, look, the criticism, no one can say anything about criticising Havertz. That performance wasn't good enough, and he wouldn't come out and defend it.
But it should stop there. That, like, as in, it's that game, and
then maybe
you
could maybe have a conversation as, is he good enough to bring us to a title,
of course, or
a UCL, those kind of conversations. But I think we get way too reactionary. And the disappointing thing is it's Arsenal fans. If it was United,
it's Arsenal fans with a big platform. That's what winds me up.
Yes.
And you're wondering, what are their intentions? Do they genuinely believe it? Do they do it for clicks? Are they so caught up in that bubble where it's like they actually believe that's the case?
Yeah, it's disappointing because for me that's not a proper fan. A proper fan supports his team, his club, and his players in order to get the best out of them. If Chelsea fans were now making noise about Havertz, trying to taunt him because he left them and call him whatever, then that's
fair
fine.
game.
He's not doesn't play for Chelsea. United fans can say whatever the hell they want after that game about Havertz. But Arsenal fans, yes, we can criticise him. Yes, we can say perhaps is he of the levels we want. But to turn it personal and to make it just really toxic when 3 weeks ago we were singing his name because he scored us a winner, I don't think that's right. I mean, we're never going to stop that happening, unfortunately, but it is the downside of Arsenal's fan base.
Yeah, for me, it's like you can't we have a couple bad performances. Then Havertz starts getting slated.
Yeah.
Arteta starts getting slated.
Yeah.
The recruitment starts getting slated. And by the way, I'm not saying this is good. Like this, it could be could be right. But then the club and the board start getting slated. It's like one little thing can't just trigger you to change your whole perspective on the club, just because you're a bit frustrated. Like you can't be Arsenal fans in particular, can't be naive enough to think, right, we deserve to be winning all trophies. We deserve to be in the Champions League. We deserve to be in every cup. Everyone deserves to or should be having an amazing performance every week. Like that's not how it works. We've gone from 8th to challenging for the title within 3 years and maintain that the last couple. Okay, you think of when City first took over.
Yeah.
They got bought by the like billionaire owners. Yeah. Okay, that was probably like 2010. Done well, won a trophy 2012. They then went on a bit of like a patch before they took their dominance in like 2016 with Pep. It takes years to do this, to actually get there and be solid and to say you can even do it. Like there's no given. Oh, Arteta's on 15 million a year, we should be winning trophies. It's just you don't understand how football works if you think that's the case.
Yeah. I've had this conversation with various Arsenal fans. There's the sensible ones that understand.
There's no patience.
You can be disappointed, and there's the reactionary ones who are shouting Arteta out. For me, if you're saying Arteta out at this stage, you haven't got a clue about how football works and what it takes to become a really successful club. Because first and foremost, it's easy to say Arteta out. Okay, who do we bring in? Who do we bring in that we know is as good or not, if not better than Arteta?
That's a good question. There's not. Who are you actually going to bring in?
So exactly. So if we could just list names and say, yeah, X, Y, and Z were better managers, then okay, maybe there's a discussion. But first and foremost, there is no one to bring in that would take Arsenal to new heights at this point in time. The second thing that fans don't realise is players play for their managers. Arteta's built a culture around Arsenal where you can tell all those players are dialed into what he's doing. You get rid of Arteta, that's 3 or 4 of the key players that we all want to build a club around for the next few years. That's 3 or 4 of them thinking, oh, I might as well go now. I was here for him.
Yeah.
Like players like Saliba. Like, yes, Arsenal's a big club, but he's not Arsenal through and through. Like he's come to Arsenal because it's a big club. He wants to progress his career, and now he's buying into a manager that's buying into him. And obviously his performances now have shown he's one of the best, if not the best centre-back in the world. Arteta goes, all of a sudden it's like, okay, Real Madrid come calling, Bayern Munich come calling, whatever, and you start thinking about it. Whereas right now he's got a loyalty to the manager. So that's another problem you get if you just sack the manager. Half your players aren't certain to stay. And I'm sure Arsenal fans want to build a squad around the majority of that core group we currently have. So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I'd just say, like, for these Arsenal fans with big platforms who are saying all this shit, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because, like you just said, Arteta goes, who are we bringing in? Wingers go, who we immediately going to bring in? What's going to immediately change? They think, like, remember where we were, and they seem to think it's like a career mode where you can go in the January transfer window, spend 40 million and you're going to get him, or spend 60 million, you're going to get him, and then it's just it's just a smooth sailing up because you've put the money in. That's not how football works, and I don't understand how you can't see that.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I get you can be reactionary after a game, that's fine, but then it's like the way they bring everything else into it, and it's like the world's ended. When you look where we were 5 years ago to now, it's ridiculous.
It's mad, because I think if you're a fan, you're going to be angry. After that game, I was disappointed, naturally. But my head doesn't then go from that disappointment to, right, Arteta's got to go, Havertz, I don't never want to see him play for this club again. Odegaard, it's not my captain. Like all these things that you're seeing, it's like, come on, man. I think if the sensible look at Arsenal is they're very close. They're very close now to being a top team. Do you stick with the core group, the manager, and just plug in a few gaps that are needed, or do you just bring it all down and start again?
Like, because we've had a little wobble in our ridiculous trajectory that
wouldn't make any sense.
We were just skyrocketing.
Yeah.
A little wobble, and you're thinking, right, let's change everything.
Wouldn't make any sense.
It's like you obviously didn't believe. You trust in the manager, trust in the players. You obviously don't believe in that.
No.
When they were doing well, you did.
Yeah.
One little hiccup, and you're like, right, I'm out.
And that's the disappointing thing. It's easy to be a fan when we're doing well. We've been doing so well for the last 2 years.
That's it.
It's been easy.
It's easy to be a fan when things are going well.
Yeah. Now that things are, a bit rocky, how real of a fan are you? Are you still supporting your team? It gets to a point, obviously, you can't support blindly, but I don't think this half season has been enough to completely doubt what's going on. There's clearly, errors have been made. Arteta will know as well. There's been errors made in terms of recruitment, in terms of certain games, the tactics and stuff. But every manager does that. They're human at the end of the day. You can't get it right all the time. So,
yeah, no, I agree, mate. Talking about obviously we were backing the players in the club a little bit there, but Havertz, like we said, it's been a few games. He's not had his best few games. His return has been good, but not, as you said, of a forward who should be winning the title, winning big trophies. Do we need to bring someone in now? Like, is it a January thing as a must do? And even if we get someone in January, is that actually gonna save our season? Or is it like?
Yeah. I mean, I've been pretty consistent in my views. Like I said from the start of the season that I think Havertz is decent. I don't think he's the answer for Arsenal if they want to compete with City, which obviously at the time we thought would be the main challengers. So my views haven't changed. It's not a sort of, when he was started scoring, I thought, he's the answer now, and now I don't. I think, we were speaking off camera at the weekend, I think there's two positions that, obviously now that Saka's injured, it's kind of the whole front three anyways, but it's like, when Saka was fit, I felt like the left wing and centre forward positions, one of them needed upgrading.
Yeah.
And if one of them got upgraded, I thought that would be enough of a front three to really be up there. I still think that's the case. So I'm not necessarily we need to get a 9 in, because I think if, let's say we got a really, really top class left winger in, I think that'd bring the best out of Havertz. And like you said, he's not done too poorly. He's just not been flying. I think if you want to save this season, you need to get forward in. I think that's clear. If you want to have any chance of closing the gap of Liverpool, any chance of doing anything in the Champions League, then the current squad as it is with all the injuries, I don't think closes the gap on Liverpool and doesn't do anything in the UCL. So it's just a matter of Arteta and his board thinking, do we want to just go for it and see what happens? Do we want to just sign a forward and see if that gives us a chance? If it doesn't, you sort of say, okay, at least we tried. That's what my approach would be, but it's not my pocket. So,
do you think the board? Do you think it's Arteta or the board?
No, that's the other thing. I really don't understand.
Sorry, because Arteta, like 2-3 years ago when he first thing in the Arsenal job, he was saying like you need to make the most of every single window, every single one you need to capitalise on. He'd done that for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Last 2 windows, they've been subpar. They've given up Arteta a £15 million contract. Is that, like, I think that's the second highest paid in Europe. Is that because they want him to, right, you're going to take the brunt of this? Like, obviously all managers do that, but they're sort of persuading him to take the brunt of it, accept what we say, and it's going to fall on your shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is another thing with fans. I don't understand how they think football works or transfers work. Like,
well, they don't know. A lot of them don't know.
Like, everyone jumps at Arteta for his transfers, and I'm like, do you not think that a manager wants to have the best possible squad available to him? Do you not think that if it was like career mode, he would just go and get the best players in every position, like fork out 100 million, 150 million, whatever it costs, and just get players? Clearly, a manager sits down with his board, his sporting director, whoever's above him in the club, says, these are the positions I need to improve on. These are the sort of targets that I think fit my system. Which ones can we get? They'll look at the prices and say, oh, that's out of budget. This one we might be able to do. This one we can negotiate, etc. It's not Arteta who's not signing the players. It's Arsenal Football Club as a whole who are not doing the business. So, yes, you could have a go at Arsenal, but saying it like it's the manager's fault, it's like, I don't understand that, because he's actually, since he's been here, like even with the Declan Rice signing and some other signings, like they've all quoted Arteta being the reason they've come. So clearly he's got some type of pull, and players want to play for him.
Yeah, Arsenal fans want to get rid of him after 2 games.
So if it's not happening in terms of the recruitment, maybe ask the question of why it's not happening. Don't just jump on the manager's neck. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and in a transfer, like you said, so the manager's got to have his players. So that's one person who's got to be on board. Manager, the club's board, the club they're buying from, their board, the player, the player's agent, the player's family. Like there's so many different variables that you've got to consider. So it's not right. We've got 80 million to spend. Is 60 million? Let's get him. That's not how football works.
Even that, exactly. You could just have the money, and he doesn't. Like City put in the same bid for Rice as we did.
Yeah,
like it's literally bang on. Even if you do have the money, there's still so many variables that could stop a transfer from happening. So yes, I think Arsenal should have signed a striker in the transfer window. I said that at the time. I still maintain that, and I think not doing that is probably going to be the downfall this season. Does that mean the manager should get sacked? That would be a stupid conclusion from that, in my opinion.
And do you think a player, right, a top world-class player who's got 2-3 clubs after him, all in the Champions League, is going to want to go to a club where he knows if he has one bad game after a year of solid performances, the fans are going to start screaming, "We don't want to sing your song anymore."
Or even that isn't ideal.
Like, you're not going to want to go there.
Yeah.
They're not fans then. They're not trying to make Arsenal an attractive football club to go to.
It's not nice, man. Even today, I was seeing we got Spurs
tomorrow.
Yeah,
at the time of recording, it comes out.
And then someone was
today.
Like, they were talking about Havertz, and because Arteta's been backing him as any good manager does in the press. Like even that, like when he says something in the press, like he's happy with his players and he's going to work with them. Yeah. People just look at that and get angry at Arteta. What do you want him to say? Do you want him to come out and say, "Nah, like Havertz ain't the answer. I need to." Find
he got asked, "Do you need a number 9?" He said no.
Yeah.
Like he's doing that for multiple reasons. One, if he says yes, any striker who goes and buys, the price is going to go up
straight away.
And then it's also saying, right, no, I'm going to breed confidence into the players I've got in my team.
He needs Havertz tomorrow night. What good would it do if he went out on Sunday after the game and said Havertz was abysmal and we need a striker?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. But Havertz, now with all the abuse he's got, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and hopefully he goes out there and takes it the right way and proves people wrong. But I don't understand, for everything he's done for Arsenal so far. I don't think he's been amazing, but I think he's been decent. He's won us some key games. Why he would feel like he's still in a position now where he's got to prove his fans wrong. Like, yes, you want to, prove that you're worth the money, prove that you're the Arsenal number 9.
You're always trying to prove yourself as well.
You're always trying, every game, every training session. But like, this is almost like they're still slating me. I've still got to try and earn the love of the fans, and it's like, I don't think that's the nicest environment for a player.
Yeah, and we're not all just protecting Arsenal about everything. Like I do think some of Arteta's comments are like, I don't agree with, like, especially when he talked about the ball being a different shape and feel or whatever he said.
That I thought was taken completely out of context with the way
it was. He got asked the question first of all, and he just said, well, the ball's different.
Yeah.
Like the ball is different.
Yeah.
Like, that's
true.
true.
That's the excuse. He just said, it's different, because they said they missed the target a lot. What do you think might have happened? He said, the ball's different. They fly differently, and anyone that plays football knows different balls react differently when you strike them. He wasn't saying that's the excuse, but obviously the press ran with it and made it look.
That's why they asked the question. They're not stupid,
and he fell for it at that time. And
he should have just ignored it. Yeah,
and that's why I love Pep with his media stuff. He'll never get caught, because he'll
go like, "I love this ball."
Yeah, exactly. Like, he does the opposite.
Yeah.
So like, he almost takes none of their questions seriously, so they can't get him.
What did you think about our actual tactics during the game? Like, because United have not been good this season, or even recent years, to be honest. But the last few games, they've looked more solid.
Yeah.
Against Liverpool, they look good.
Yeah.
So obviously, overall looking, a draw to United at home and a loss on pens can look bad.
Yeah.
But I think they're actually a tougher team, especially against the big sides, than most people are giving them credit for.
Against the big sides, they usually turn up.
Like, last 2 weeks have been in good form.
Having said that, I think it's easy to jump on tactics and stuff. And this is why, again, as much as I knew that loss would put a lot of pressure on Arteta, I didn't for 1 second question him. If Rice scores that header, if Havertz scores the open goal or the half chance he had in the box, if I can't remember all the chances, but we had chances.
Yeah.
If they just go in, it's a 2-3-4-1 game, and we're not talking about this now.
Yeah.
So these are the circumstances, in my opinion, where the player's got to take responsibility. Odegaard penalty as well. Like, the player's got to take
Probably wasn't a pen, though.
No, it wasn't a pen. It wasn't. I don't think it was a pen.
No, it wasn't.
You got given the pen. Arsenal had the chances to win that game comfortably, and they didn't. So then how can you blame the manager? He didn't tell them to go and miss those chances. So I do think, yes, United are harder to play against them. A lot of people realise, but I think it was more of a case of we weren't clinical enough on the day.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
and it happens.
It does happen, of course it does, and because of that, we're out of the Arsenal are now out of the FA Cup.
Yeah,
we're 2-0 down in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
and we're 6 points behind Liverpool. They've got a game in hand, so potentially 9 points. Depends how their game goes with Forest tonight. Do you think we can realistically make a statement in any of them?
I think it's difficult. I think
I think it'll be based off if we sign in January as well. But based off what you think will happen in January, what do you think will happen in the year?
I think there's a lot of variables. If we sign someone in January and we can have a bit more luck with the injuries, i.e. players coming back and no more players getting injured.
It's another thing people forget about. How many players are injured?
I mean, the team he's selecting right now would not be his team if he had all his players.
No way.
So don't get me wrong, injuries are part of football, and that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse for like why you don't win the league and stuff, but you do have to take it into account and give a manager some slack when he's got, I don't know, probably 4 of his starting 11 out.
Yeah, well, we've got Saka out.
Saka's out. Ben White's out. Calafiori's injured. Jesus is injured now. Now, yeah.
I mean, we've got a lot of our top players out, and this is why when we go back to get Arteta out, no other manager's going to produce when half their team's missing.
Yeah,
like,
look at Pep.
Yeah,
I mean that is a great example of someone who everyone, or a large population of football fans would agree he's the best or one of the best managers of all time. Gets a few of his key players injured, Rodri, De Bruyne, etc. And then look what happens. Like, they fall off differently. They start losing. They go, I don't know, they went on some mad streak, and it's like, it's unheard of. And that's the best manager ever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people need to take that full picture into context, where we've been, where we've come from, and just have a bit more patience, man.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm not saying Arsenal fans should be happy with what's happening this season. It's disappointing because
still
City falling off like that means this is the year to just go and win the title, and we're not doing that at the minute. But back the club and trust that the guys in charge, the gaffer in particular, knows what he's doing.